Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. I ran across this report, and it was concerning debt collection lawsuits in the state of Michigan. And I can tell you that the rate of people who have contacted us from Michigan has steadily increased. And one of the things that I've known from years of dealing with debt collectors from the state of Michigan is that they have a way of believing that there is nothing that can be done against them. Uh, I recall one where a lady was getting sued for a automobile repo, and I was like, this debt collection company is not giving at all. And when I did my research back then, it was mainly because the finance companies were kind of, I don't know, it's not legal in my state, but somehow the debt collection company and the finance company that was in the state of Michigan had some sort of way of being able to collect on automobile repo debt in a way that I haven't seen in other states. And I could tell you when I was negotiating with this lady, she had the debt collection person like the worst non-agreeable attitude. Basically, it was like it's either going to be a take it or leave it, and the take it or leave it was going to be this person was going to have to make payments. Now, after doing more research and finding out, is that people in Michigan, because Michigan auto capital of the well, at one time auto capital of the world. I don't know if it still is. It's probably still for the United States or somewhere. They still got a lot of stuff going through there. Is that the lending services were the lending companies for clients that got loans in Michigan? They were treated in a different way than as if they were doing a loan for a person in another state. The collection means were like uh, the scales were just tilted towards debt collection companies, and they were actually using uh, very I would all debt collection companies are professional, but these were not your ordinary debt collection type companies. You know how it is when you're speaking to someone and it's like you're asking them questions and you know that you're right about stuff, but it seems like they have something in their back pocket that allows them to be able to move forward and not really work with you. And it's because they know the laws in their state when it came to this situation with these automobile uh, repo debt is that they knew that it was very favorable for them in the state of Michigan. So now let's look at this report that I got. And it says here, it's an overview. This is from the Michigan Justice for All Commission. So it says here, and I'll read. And at the end of this, I'm going to ask you some questions about what they said they need to do. And I'm going to ask, we're going to together kind of say, well, what they're saying needs to be done. Will it actually really work for the consumers who are facing these issues? So we'll together answer those questions. And again, let's wake it up. Let's wake it up. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. You're about to learn something new. So we got here since January 2021, the Michigan Justice for All Commission has been working together, working towards creating a path to a better civil justice system, one that is welcoming, understandable, collaborative, adaptive, and trusted. To help achieve the goals set forth in its strategic plan, the Commission created the Debt Collection Work Group, which has developed data-driven recommendations to simplify and streamline processes, rules, and laws so that people can more effectively navigate court processes and, when appropriate, address their debt collection cases without the assistance of an attorney. This is the way that this whole thing is going, by the way. That's why it is blowing up for my company, because if you have a debt collection and it's like $1,500 or $5,000, whatever, and you got to pay an attorney $2,500 just to show up, it's just not going to work in your favor. And the court system is starting to understand this. So, in addition, the work group recommends modernizing long outdated laws to help ensure that courts are adaptable to an ever-changing world and are seen as a trusted place where both creditors and consumers can resolve their problems with the help of the Pew Charitable Trust and is that January advisors. The work group sought to understand the consumer debt collection landscape in Michigan, the vast majority of which are filed in Michigan District Court. Debt collection cases are dominating Michigan District Court, second in filing rate only to traffic cases in 2019. 10 plaintiffs filed almost 3/4 of debt collection cases. So 10 plaintiffs, 10 debt collection companies. Third-party debt collectors are filing more cases in Michigan District Court, and I already told you the reason why, because it's the scales are weighted in debt collectors' favors in Michigan, and I would bet the majority of these are auto repo debt. Increasing 40% over the last decade, 40%, and constitute 60% of all debt collection cases in 2019. The three plaintiffs with the highest filing rates are all third-party debt collectors. While debt collection cases are filed across the state, most cases are filed against low and moderate income Michiganders. Default judgments are entered in almost 70%. 70% of the debt collection cases after service is recorded as completed. I'm going to stop real quick right here. You need to watch my video. Debt judgments can come back to get you, because that goes a little bit into how this 70% of these cases will end up either holding people back or it's going to come back to get them. Racial disparities exist with debt collection litigation. The filing rate against people living in majority Black communities is 2 to 3 times higher than cases filed against people living in majority non-Hispanic white communities. While the filing rate decreases with increased income for people living in majority white communities, the filing rate remains fairly consistent across incomes for people living in majority Black communities. So let me just back up, and you might be saying, well, why is that? Why don't they go after the people who have the money and it's like flip-flop, they're going after the people that don't have the money. This is crazy. And I've spoke about this in videos. I'm not going to elaborate on it right now. I'm going to save that for another video, but you can read that right there. This is not my opinion. This is what they found while doing their research. The filing rate against people living in majority Black communities is 2 to 3 times higher than cases filed against people living in non-Hispanic white communities. While the filing rate decreases with increased income for people living in majority white communities, the filing rate remains fairly consistent across incomes for people living in majority Black communities. People living in majority Black communities are also more likely to have cases filed against them dismissed for failure to serve, which is a good thing. Once service was recorded as completed, however, people living in Black communities were more likely to have default judgments in their cases. Once a default judgment is entered, the judgment creditor seeks garnishment in 78% of the cases. Now, you might be wondering, Why don't they do it in 100% of the cases? And that is because um, if you understand the laws in your state for what would be considered exempt, they may already know, or people notify them when they seek the garnishment that they're going to be exempt from being able to be garnished. Creditors are almost always represented in debt collection cases, but consumers are rarely represented. Legal aid providers lack the resources to offer full representation in the vast majority of cases. When a consumer is represented by counsel, their cases is 10 times more likely to be dismissed with prejudice and twice as likely to reach a settlement. That's because they're going to be moving more towards a settlement. And this is good though, 10 times more. That's because mainly they can question the documents that they must provide. In addition, the work group reviewed the procedures for service of process and rules related to garnishment in Michigan and found both failed to adopt with technology and our modern financial world. Remember what I said, in Michigan, it is weighted very heavily towards debt collectors being able to garnish wages. Based on these findings, the work group recommendations, modernizing serving of process rules to help ensure that consumers receive notice of the lawsuit filed against them. Very good. That will help increase the amount of information to be included in the complaint to help ensure that the plaintiff has provided sufficient evidence to support a default judgment. That would be good, because even if you don't come, they have to request a default judgment, and the judge is supposed to review the information to make sure that um, they did get that information. The next one is creating court documents and forms that consumers can easily understand and use. That would help. Improving our understanding of debt collection in Michigan through a more optimized use of court records. That would most definitely, because it is weighted against them. Engaging with consumers who have faced debt collection litigation and understanding the barriers they encounter in the court processes. Again, and I've talked about this, this is a personality. Some people are more apt to fight. Some people don't have it, not within them, but they just don't have the personality to even want to go to court and deal with this. Next one, developing pilot projects to find alternatives to litigation that help creditors, consumers, and courts. Could help, but I'm kind of scared of that one because it could get into a situation where it's only going to be about the debt. All right, I would be interested in knowing your opinion on this. Obviously, this is going on in all 50 states, but Michigan is one where they have found this report, and I think that this is some good information. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you have debt collectors coming after you, and it is early in the game, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, debt validation, cease desist, collection activities letter. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors that are trying to sue you in court, we can help you. There is a link below this video for that. Sorry about the dinging on my phone. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and